Invader Zim has finally returned and, well, it annihilated my expectations, basically. For those who don't know me, I've been an Invader Zim fan since I was about 7 years old. So I've been waiting all these years to see the show return. And this new movie is really something special. I mean, this is a movie with character arcs, action, comedy, and even some tension. Zim was always a show that didn't take itself seriously and didn't have much of a plot. It was just constant creativity and comedy. But with Enter the Florpus, it takes this somewhat different direction that feels really right. The classic Zim nonsense is still there, but it's mixed into this fun sci-fi adventure about Dib and his family. This is not just a typical Zim episode. The story is very focused on Dib trying to prove himself to his dad, Professor Membrane. After years of doing nothing, Zim finally learns that the Tallest have no interest in taking over Earth, so Zim actually gives up. Dib takes this opportunity to finally capture Zim, but things end up going wrong. Very wrong. There's much more to the story, but I'll avoid spoilers. I found it somewhat comparable to Backseat Drivers from Beyond the Stars, which is my favorite episode of the series. Similar to that episode, there's a lot of chaos going on throughout this movie, but you never get lost in the plot. You just find yourself laughing and being impressed by the new stuff they keep adding on. It can actually be pretty tense and dramatic at times too, and again, I never thought I'd get to see Invader Zim do stuff like that. It's just built in such a perfect way where both people familiar and unfamiliar with the series can hop right in and have a lot of fun. It's not just some reboot, it's the Invader Zim equivalent to something like the Jimmy Neutron movie or the Billy and Mandy movie, but, you know, way cooler than both of those movies. The movie starts off with a hilarious and visually amazing intro that summarizes the series. Then most of the other exposition in the movie comes from a joke based around how long the show's been gone. But even that joke ties into the plot pretty significantly. It's a great way to start this off. In particular, I love that the title card said Dib Membrane versus Invader Zim. That just reiterates the fact that this is a Dib story, and it's a really great story. The first bit of the movie is pulled straight from the comic books, and I loved seeing that animated and voiced. It's a hilarious way to reintroduce the world of the show. Zim actually comes off way more villainous in this than he ever has before too. Like his evil plan in this movie actually has global consequences that causes mass fear. He's still his same goofy self, but the way he's framed and the perspective the story is told from makes him cooler than ever before. And overall, it's just really fulfilling to see Dib get a proper spotlight, and not be some punching bag like he was originally. The action scene towards the end with him and it was so cool. I was smiling the whole movie, but I was beaming towards the end. And as you'd expect, the voice actors are amazing as always. Just like the Rocco movie, it's as if they never left. Especially Dib. I know his voice actor isn't really known for much else, but he's a great actor. He could be both serious and goofy. Professor Membrane was great too. I never even expected him to be like a main character, but he fits right in. He has some great acting and some super cool scenes towards the end. Gur is cuter than ever before, and he even gets a musical scene, and well, I adore musical scenes. Even just all the background music throughout this movie is really amazing and iconic too. And Gaz is great too, but she still doesn't play that big of a role in the story, though she is more prominent in here than she was in the original show. And of course, Zim's voice is incredible. The animation for this movie is incredible too. Like, personally, this might just be my favorite art style I've ever seen. It's way more vibrant and dynamic than the show originally was. There's so many whips, fast actions, depth of field, and great cartoony expressions. The color palette and backgrounds are especially gorgeous too, and I loved all the uses of silhouettes. Plus, they don't stray away from mixing in entirely new animation styles. And the two big sequences where they do that are just jaw-droppingly cool. They go crazy with that. This was meant to be on TV, and this has got to be the best quality, most polished Western television animation I've ever seen. Sure, there are a few times where the animation is like noticeably motion tweened, but I'm sure that's just because of the budget. Or scenes they added at the last minute. Plus, if some parts didn't look kinda wonky, then the amazing parts wouldn't look as amazing as they do. And this only happens with the actual animated movement. The straight visual design is always top notch. There's some CG mix in there too. The original show did that a lot, but here it's even more stylized. This is really something new for Zim. There aren't many callbacks to the show at all. When there is, it's all really minor things. Though I felt that, minor spoilers here, Tak could have made a comeback. In the way one of the scenes was being paced, I was almost expecting her to show up, but she didn't. I'm sure bringing her back was something they had to have considered when developing the movie, but they left it out probably to keep the story more pure and focused. It'd be great conclusive fan service to see it, and it would have added to the chaos of the plot, but it probably didn't fit in with the story they were going for, so I don't mind it. I mean, she's basically in it because her ship's in there, and that's way more than enough for me. My only real complaint is that the actual ending of the movie is a little disappointing. They just stick to the status quo. And I mean, it works, but with the character arc they were giving us, it would have been nice to see some characters, Membrane specifically, change a bit more by the end. But that's like, seriously the only thing I could find wrong with this movie. As a Zim fan, it's more than what I wanted. We get classic Zim nonsense, an actual story arc, and a super polished new visual style that made my eyeballs fall out. I'm so glad that after all these years, this finally happened, and the end product was better than I could have ever hoped for. Will we get more Zim after this? No clue, but this was a great way to send it off. I know not everyone has Netflix, but if you do, or know people who do, watch this movie on Netflix. Give it a like rating and add it to your watch list. Share it with your friends, tweet about it, Facebook about it, MySpace about it, make blingies of your favorite character. Do whatever so you can show Netflix, Nickelodeon, and the movie's crew that we love this, and everyone involved did an amazing job. The Zim comics are still going strong, though there's still no sign if we'll be seeing more animated Zim, but it's possible if this special gets a big response. Animation takes a while, so it'd be like years away if they do pick up Zim again, but for now, let's appreciate what we have, which is this awesome, awesome movie. Thank you all for joining me on this wild Enter the Florpus hype train. I'm glad I could help inform you all during this movie's weird release process, and I hope you enjoyed watching my videos, and now, watching the movie. I adore Zim, and I still have some Zim-related videos in mind, so stay tuned. If you like this video of mine, please feel free to hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications to know when I post a new video. Also, consider supporting me on Patreon. Thanks for watching, and super special thanks to my Patreon supporters.